Hello and welcome to Level Up and Friends, the podcast where those of us from Level Up Entertainment get together with some friends every once in a while and talk about things we're passionate about. We just had what is it, like the seventh or ninth Ninja Turtles movie just come out, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and it seemed appropriate to talk about it. I'm your host, Scott, and I've got my Turtle Boys this week. I've got James,
Hey, how you doing?
we've got Adam,
Everybody.
and then, of course, I've got Kendall.
What's up, dudes?
Um, Adam and James are my two most regular Turtles comic customers store. And then Kendall and I have been friends since high school. And one of the main things we've always bonded over is Ninja Turtles. In fact, we saw the movie together and I bumped into Adam at the same screening as we left. But we didn't get a chance to really chat about it until now. So it's just, I think that was actually kind of what gave me the idea. Is like, oh, you know what? That might be cool. And like a nice topical podcast to put out. But just to get started, we're going to start with our spoiler-free thoughts about the movie, and then we'll let you guys know we're getting into spoilers since the movie's only been out for like the last week, and then we'll get into that. I'll start with James, since you were the first to come on. What did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I think that it is a good new take with a lot of bits and pieces of every previous iteration of Turtles. So I I was really digging it, man. I thought it was really good.
All right, Adam, what about you?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it a lot. It was it's nice. It was kid friendly. I love the animation style and just it was like again a new take, for the younger people, but in general, a lot of fun and it brought back a lot of good memories. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Maybe they'll do something again. Who knows?
Yeah, and what about you, Kendall?
Oh yeah, I loved it. A lot of fun. Uh yeah, anyone who's heard me talk about Ninja Turtles knows I love fresh takes on old stuff, and this definitely is fresh.
Yeah, I do have like I have complaints about the movie. I did really, really like it, and I think this is the best Ninja Turtles movie since 1990. I just want to go on the record with that stuff, even though I have things I'm going to bring up that I don't
That way,
really
no one
like.
goes after you.
Yeah. Now it's got a lot of great stuff in it too. So it's
Yeah.
um, but I really liked it, and I think if this is something you have any mild interest in, you should go see it in the theater. As much as I want movie studios to fail because of the way they treat the people that make the movies. But
Yeah.
like this is definitely like a good theater movie like experience.
Oh, without a doubt, it was really visually very movie theater
Yeah.
driven.
This was I love that we're getting movies that kind of look like this in the wake of Spider-Verse still. So
Oh
Yes.
yeah. It's also a big movie. Like I know we're doing spoiler free, but I'd say in a way it's like the biggest Ninja Turtle movie.
Definitely the most ambitious on how they were doing. Like it's really big to take something like that and try to do it on the scale they did. I think it was a very ambitious Ninja Turtle movie for sure.
to be fair, I think the first movie is probably the most ambitious just in terms of like
Well, I mean,
technical
yeah, with
stuff. But
firemen and all that, like
yeah.
pushing this, you're pushing it. But I mean, just the style that they were going for. Because if you look at it, like, all right, the Spider Verse kind of like very poppy sketched art stuff is there. So when you go to do something similar, it's like, is this already been done? You know what I mean? So I think the way they did it, they were very ambitious and like the way they wanted to go at it and make it their own thing in the wake of that kind of style starting to be popular.
Yeah. But that said, is there any other spoiler-free stuff we want to get to? We want to just dive right into it. I'm cool with
Whatever
just
you want, man. I'm
yeah.
down to talk about whatever with this movie.
Okay. So specifically, let's start with the bad guy in this because Superfly is a new enemy created for this movie. And
Yes.
obviously he brings a lot of mutants with him. That's where the mayhem,
Mhm.
starts to come from. Um, but I want to talk about Superfly specifically as played by Ice Cube. I'll start with you, Adam. What did you think of him?
Yeah, no, I like the take on it. Now. Are we talking spoilers too, or are we?
Yeah, jump right into spoilers.
Yeah, I like the idea that he was kind of like Baxter's son. In fact, I got the little chippy guy.
Yeah.
I might get some more. Don't tell anybody. But no,
Yeah.
I like the idea. It was a different take on it. I like the idea that they brought more mutants into it, and I thought it was a pretty good villain. And then the ending, I'm not going to spoil that part, but what they did with Superfly, that was pretty cool. It was like, whoa, we got a whole different genre movie going on here. You know, it was pretty sweet.
He was like both a new character and kind of a reference to like the 80s
Right.
Baxter Stockman. Since
Yeah.
although
Yeah,
it is wild that they cast Juan Carlo Esposito to play Baxter Stockman.
Yeah.
It's got like
Giancarlo
movie.
Esposito, I love his voice. I
Yeah.
love his voice. I think they did great with that. That was pretty
It's
cool.
crazy how he's barely in the movie. Not that that's a problem.
No,
But
no.
I was just like, wow, I wasn't expecting him to just not show up again. But,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I think, Kendall, were you the one that was pointing out that like a lot of the phrases that Superfly says is an Ice Cube like reference?
Yeah, we were
3
talking
in the
about
morning,
that.
please at my door.
Yeah. But like he was a lot of fun and like intimidating, but like you got what he was going for and wasn't. I mean, all right, he was a bad guy, but he wasn't necessarily like a bad guy.
Yeah.
Do you know
Perspective,
what I mean?
man. It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of
Even
my
as
favorite. Yeah.
like in the comics too, like what they were doing some of the comics too, about the mutants and everything.
Yeah. Because yeah, like half of the mutants in this were like, because I remember like going into this was like, are they going to like splinter off? No pun intended, but like, because half of them are like friends with the Ninja Turtles, and half of them are like
They did a Mighty
villains.
Mutanimals, man. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it.
But like, since we're talking spoilers, like, I'm stoked for Good Guy Bebop and Rocksteady.
Listen,
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
all right, so that's what I was like. All right, Mondo Gecko, like these are Leatherhead. These are people they eventually become friends with, and like the whole Mighty Mutanimals thing. But I'm like, but with Bebop and Rocksteady like doing it, I was like, that's cool. I can dig that. All right, like because like I said, they're doing something fresh and new. But I like how it was like a battle at first. I like how they're all clashing heads and stuff like that. I like how they did that, and I think they fit a lot into this movie that could have been drawn out more, but then you'd get bored with it being so drawn out.
Yeah, one of the things, again, this is probably just my expectations, and then on a second viewing wouldn't be as big a deal. I wasn't expecting this to be so much of an origin story for the Turtles. I was expecting more. I guess I wanted at least one more like fight scene with the Turtles versus all the mutants versus just the car scene that we got. Because I kind of wish they had a little bit more screen time. But like, I do know that they are doing like a TV show based on this.
Yeah, they're doing a 2D TV show.
So the way the movie ended, it's a new kind of status quo and a new take on the Turtles. I was like, I'm excited to see what comes next. So I was like, all right, I can dig on this. But yeah, so I know some people were upset with like the new takes on some of the Mutanimals when they announced like the voice actors and actresses and stuff. I don't know if you guys had a strong feeling. I was like, bats and alligators can also be female, so like whatever, they look exactly the same.
Listen, that stuff never bothers me. People who I like to think of like when you're looking at a situation, especially when it comes to comics and stuff, and they change a character and all that. Like some people are just so set in the ways. Like, no, you can't do that. No, it's called comics. That means you can do that. You know what I mean?
Like I know Ken and I have said many times. One of my favorite things about this franchise is that it's not afraid to usually reinvent itself. Like, and the core concept is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's so inherently like silly and kind of dumb that like that's not the kind of thing I care about. As long as like the characters are likable and it's fun, it doesn't really matter. Like,
well, that's like, I was telling someone the other day, I was like, what do you care about Leatherhead being voiced by a girl? I said, dude, listen, they're turtles. They're mutated turtles. Okay. Like, I mean, come on. Like,
that's one of the more believable things is that some of the characters would be female.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and it's really silly to care. You know, if this was a typical Ninja Turtles movie, Wingnut and Leatherhead wouldn't even be here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, well, that's why I say, in order for a franchise to keep moving forward, you have to change things. No one wants the same old thing all the time. You know what I mean? You have to keep it fresh and new.
Unfortunately, with the vocal turtles, and that's the thing about the internet. Who knows how big of fans people actually are. I think some people just enjoy getting into
The conversation and starting stuff.
fights
Yeah.
about things. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta keep it fresh. The last thing I want to see is an exact replica of something I've already seen before.
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, that's my feeling for any of these long-running franchises, not just Ninja Turtles. Like that was my big
Yeah,
disappointment in the new Star Wars movies. Like, why does it have to be an Empire and Rebels again? It's just like that's so boring.
Yeah.
You know, like there's so many cool new things you can do with it. And this seems to be the one franchise that like is allowed to do that. I know going into this, one of my I don't want to say concerns, but like it seems like Turtles swings between like a traditional Turtles and then like something really crazy and then goes back
Yeah.
to traditional. So like the when Nickelodeon first got it, it went like the 2K12 series like did change some stuff, but it was like more in line with how it normally is. And then Rise was a very big departure.
Yeah. Well, if
Like
you
I think,
follow yeah,
yeah,
if you follow from the beginning, it's like they're
yeah.
total. Each iteration is totally different from the next.
I going into this, I thought it was gonna be more like a traditional one, but like it's got a lot of new weird elements that I'm like, it kind of feels like it's got a foot in both camps, and I dig that.
Yeah,
a
I
foot,
agree.
huh?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know going into this, one of the things I was most excited about is like, oh, there's no Shredder or the Foot in this. That's not. They always do that stuff.
Do that right off the rip.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of the reasons I was really excited for it to be like so many mutants, which is why I think I was a little disappointed there wasn't as much of that as I was
Yeah.
kind of hoping for.
I mean, the mutants were there, but I get wanting one more fight.
Yeah,
That
I
would've
just one more, you know, like
Yeah. But I think it was necessary to keep the extra mutant stuff uh kind of where it was, because and I feel like that's even happened with our conversation today. It's easy for the our four boys to get pushed into the background when there's so many other mutants.
yeah, that's fair. And like, but I think if this was like a sequel to like an origin movie, or like we didn't have to focus on that, then maybe like that wouldn't be at. I don't know. It's one of those things. Is like, what do you? Because this is trying to start off a new series,
Yeah.
like a TV show and such. But I think
Oh
that's
yeah,
I was gonna say I think that's a good segue. You guys want to talk about the turtles themselves and how they're like how they were handled in this?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm gonna start it off with a trope I don't like that they've been doing. I don't like when one of the turtles is into April.
Okay. Okay. We're hopping right into it. All right.
Yeah,
That's
that's the only thing they did with the four of them that I do not like. Otherwise, I liked everything they did. I like that they are sound and act like teenagers. I like that they were. I like that we got to see them like basically start fighting people. I like that they how they had their motivation. Like they only wanted to be heroes to save people because like oh that's how they got April to like them. That's how they get everybody to like them. And then they
yeah.
realized by the end that they're doing it for the wrong reasons. So like they try to be like actual heroes. Like I really
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like the whole aspect of how they're like, all right, this is what we have to do to like just get out of the sewer and be accepted and all that stuff. And they kind of put a modern spin on it, like how it's like through social media and all that stuff. But the whole initial like love at first sight kind of like jokingly like he sees her and stuff like that. Like they did it with Donnie in the 2012
And they did it with
one.
Mikey in the Michael Bay esque one.
Yes, yeah, like Mikey was really into her and stuff like that.
I
Like
mean,
I
I
don't
think that one was the worst one, but in terms of that, I don't think they were very good to begin with. But like that's a different conversation.
yeah, I'm not I'm just like it's kind of silly because like it's like you can only take that so far in the story. You know what I
And I feel
mean?
like sometimes, and this is more of a problem with the 2K12 show, where like kind of diminishes April's role a bit. I feel like it's like all of her stories kind of start. because the turtles are the main characters. So like Donnie's stories start to become more about like him, like their relationship together like that, but not. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like I don't especially like that.
Listen, man, this is the way it goes. That is
Yeah.
Casey Jones' woman, and that's how it's always gonna be. All right.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I feel like it's more limiting in the types of stories you can tell
Yeah,
with
I
these
agree.
characters. But
Yeah.
that's me.
I mean, I don't mind if one of the turtles has a crush on April.
Yeah,
And Scott, did you finish the 2012 show?
I never finished it. I know they started doing it with, like Shredder or not with Leo and Karai, even though they're sort of brother and sister in that.
Yeah, they kind of had a thing going.
Yeah, but I didn't
Well,
finish. I didn't finish the Nickelodeon run. I'm not a. It's a good show. I'm not the biggest fan of it.
I think they bring that to a good resolution.
Okay, I like
Um,
April's more their friend. Like I love their relationship in Rise.
yeah, oh, it's great. But anyway, what I was saying is like I don't mind that one of the turtles has like a crush on April. Because so far they've handled it pretty tastefully. I feel like it can get weird, and like Donatello in the 2012 show does get,
A little
I feel
weird.
like, a
Yeah.
little weird, but
Yeah,
it's
that
it's
like
addressed.
yeah,
It's addressed though.
yeah, I don't like Donatello's thing with her in that show. Like Leo was okay in this, but like because it wasn't like because they had like other things to do in the plot than just like oh my god, April's the hottest. But like it's just one of those
Yeah,
things. Like, it's a personal taste thing. I don't. It did not ruin the experience for me, like in the
No,
slightest.
no, no. I
It
don't
just
think
was
it
one of
ruined
those
it for
things
me.
when they first see her and like he gets like the hard eyes. It's like, oh, like,
no, yeah. I
but
mean, I'm
otherwise,
I'm not looking for
yeah,
that in every version of the Turtles, but like I think like they used it in the 2012 show to like send a good message that like, hey, like sometimes it doesn't work out, you know? Which is
yeah.
like that's important for kids watching that show to know.
Yeah, it helped
That's
personal
true.
growth.
Yeah.
You're not always gonna get what you want.
No.
Yeah.
So
Right.
and but yeah, I get why it is a little weird. But it's part of that teenage. You gotta address the teenage hormones somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
understand.
You're right.
Although in a movie with so many mutants, maybe they could have just like had someone else there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
What's her
mean,
name? Mona Lisa?
yeah,
Mona. Yeah, Mona.
I mean, Splinter gets to be with somebody by the end of the movie, so
Yeah,
That's true.
dude, that was
I mean, it didn't
crazy.
need it, but come on.
yeah. Um, I don't know if you guys saw in the lead up to the movie. I don't want to get too political, but all those like right wing YouTubers were like, they made Splinter gay. And I'm like, they say the
What?
Stink Bug's got female pronouns. Like, that's not. It's
It's
just one of those
yeah.
things.
What?
They got mad
It's
about
like,
something that wasn't
listen.
in the movie, and it's just like,
There's people who are gonna bring out like the weirdest aspect of something. There were certain people who were like when Rise came out and April was black, and they're like, "Oh my god, why are they changing April and all this stuff?" And then people complain about April being black. First of all, what does it matter? Second of all, like Kevin Eastman, the character was loosely based after the woman that he wound up marrying, which is I'm pretty sure she's what half black, right?
I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah, I know it was based off his then girlfriend who
Yeah,
was
I believe she was
black.
biracial. So if anything, it's sticking to the source material. Like, get over it, people.
I mean, that said, like, you guys want to talk about it? I kind of loved April in this movie. I think this is
Well,
well,
I
yeah,
think we should go through the turtles.
yeah.
We
Want
kind
to
of
go through
got
the turtles first?
sidetracked.
Yeah.
Good point.
All right. So, well, all right. So Leo's kind of the main character, for lack of a better term, in this. Um, I don't really think that, but I think he gets the most character development. Um, but like, yeah. So I'll start with one of you guys while I get my dog to stop barking near me. And what can you tell us about Leo? We'll start with Leo.
Sure. No, I mean Leo. I mean, in general, like you said, had the most character development. The voice actor, they sounded more mature of them. And in general, I like what they were going with it, and also I like that he wasn't fully sure of himself. As the other turtles were teasing, like, oh, come on, fearless leader, like show us what to do. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I've been in the sewers for 15 years. What do you want from me?
Right?
But I don't want to switch gears, but I do have a funny Michelangelo thought once we get to Michelangelo, though.
Oh yeah, we'll start you off with Mikey then. I like
I
that
like
Leo was more like the responsible one rather than like I'm the leader.
Yeah.
Yes, they did a kind of different take with Leo. Like clearly he was the leader and like, listen, we got to do this and do what Splinter says. But like he was very kind of unsure of himself and very like coming into his own. And I think that's kind of what I liked about his character is it wasn't your regular leader role. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he was trying to get them to follow him, and you could kind of see like he was trying. It wasn't just like, okay, he's the leader, we follow what he says. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So,
like I like that they don't really like listen to him like that because they're brothers and whatnot. But like
yeah,
but like he does still like yeah, he does still go along with like their goofy things. Like he doesn't completely like they still throw ninja stars at each other. They go to the movie, like
yeah.
you know.
That Ferris Bueller reference. I mean,
I
God,
wasn't
that's so
expecting
awesome.
that. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. Well, and what a great what a great person for them to compare themselves to. Like Ferris Bueller just gets whatever he wants the whole movie
Yeah.
and is loved by everybody except his principal.
Yeah, like when they were watching that and it was live action, I was like, I cracked up. I was like, this is great. That's so very artistic. I love how they did that.
Didn't they show other movies that like Splinter was learning how to fight off of and they were live action too?
They were
Yeah.
Jackie Chan films,
Jackie
dude.
Chan movies,
Yeah,
They were
Splinter's
Jackie
Jackie
Chan
Chan, so that's
movies.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
I almost lost it, man. I was like, this is great. That was so great.
But yeah, let's keep talking about the turtles. Let's I'm looking at my lunchbox based on the cover of Ninja Turtles #1, so I'm just kind of going next to Leo is Donatello. What do you guys think of Donnie in this one? I'll start with
I
you.
loved him.
Okay, yeah. I'll start with you then, James. You loved him?
Yeah, I loved him. I loved how he was smart, but not like a super genius or nothing. You know what I mean? He was smart and was like quick to thinking, like on his feet, and he was more like how you would expect a a kid that was into tech at that age. Even now, like he was into games, the cell phone, like like stuff like that. It wasn't like he was in the sewer making like all kinds of crazy gadgets. He was a young kid who's just smart and into tech, and I think that came through like really good in this iteration, instead of him just being like automatically just a genius. You know what I mean? I think they did it really, really well, and more, I'd say, more believable, especially when you kind of cut off from the world and coming from a sewer.
Yeah. I appreciate that he was a nerd in the sense like he watched anime and read comic books.
Oh yeah. The
that's more my experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
And his hoodie was like a JoJo's Bizarre
JoJo
Adventure hoodie.
Bizarro. Yup.
Yeah.
JoJo Bizarro, baby. I noticed that right away. I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah, I love his like anime nerdum. And
yeah, it was
the
great.
fact that he was very much, I feel like a lot of iterations of Turtles feel this need to like make him, I don't want to say more mature, but I mean that's how he comes across.
Yeah.
He's just like very serious in a lot of iterations, and in this he was a kid for sure.
Oh yeah, one of the things I liked is he was just as much a troublemaker as Raph and Mikey.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that it's silly, but he was the driver. Usually it's like Raphael. It's like Donnie's never the driver of the van.
Yeah,
he
he's
learned to drive
he's
from
the one dealing with the
Basement,
computer
right?
stuff in the back.
Yeah, he was in fact doing something. He's tinkering. Like, he's driving now?
Yeah, he learned. They said he learned to play from a video game. Was it Gran Turismo? I remember
Forza.
Forza.
He was
That's
from
what it was.
Forza. Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
yo, all that Forza Horizon.
You know what it was? We got a Gran Turismo like movie trailer right before then. That's why that was my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this one, and like that, like even though like he has a dumb stick, like it was like the most useful weapon that they had. Like
Yeah.
they used it to like press the gas from like behind like drivers and stuff. Like there was a lot of fun stuff in it.
I just love how he references like, what am I supposed to do? All I have is a stick.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, there's a part where it's like we'd have to need something like long and narrow to get to that, and like, oh my god, and then they use a stick.
He's like, finally, I'm useful. And then he like,
I'll be honest with you. I think this is the funniest Ninja Turtles movie,
by
not
far,
counting
it's
like the
funniest.
Netflix Rise movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy that you said, because like I watched The Rise, especially like my kids loved The Rise. And I was just like, I like the cutscenes when they start fighting and the way they animate it, and it's like so epic, but then it just goes somewhere different. And it was like, I wasn't like the biggest fan, but at the same, like I sat there and watched it, and I would crack up from time to time. I was like, oh, that's pretty funny. But
we'll have to do a separate podcast about Rise because like
yeah,
I think that's my favorite Ninja Turtle show, but
yeah.
that's a whole different conversation. We can talk about that next time you're in the store. I don't want to get too off track, but yeah. So yeah, Donatello was fun. Like, and I want to go on the record. I think all of the turtles were fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like all of them. Let's do Raph. I know some people I've talked to don't like that Raph wasn't like angry loner Raph. I'm like, that's totally fine, especially since they're just now starting to like do things. Like we literally see their first fight with people in this.
Yeah, yeah. The whole thing was more lighthearted, so he wasn't like that the brother that is always irritated with everyone and all like that. But he was still the aggressive one. He was still the one that was like, "Yo, we're throwing down now." Yeah, there's a scene where he ground and pounds someone, hops up and spits on them.
Yeah,
like he was wrath, dude. Like
Yeah.
he was still that character. He was still that character.
And just because he isn't storming off, like
Yeah.
he says to them, he's like, my biggest regret in life is that like y'all are gonna be the last people I see before I die.
Yeah.
yeah.
And just like he wants to get away, he just like doesn't have a place to go.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah, bringing that up, one of the things I like is like all of the turtles are kind of for more or less on the same page in this one, which
Yeah.
it's a lot less than you think.
Yeah. Especially if you read the books. Oh my God.
Yeah. But yeah, Kendall, you were saying about Raph. Sorry, I didn't want to mean to interrupt you there.
oh, all good. I just think it's kind of like maybe, especially since they're so like sheltered in this version, I think it's fine that he's not like, oh, I'm gonna storm off on my own. Like
Yeah.
he expresses that in different ways here.
I agree. I totally agree.
And honestly, it saves it, him storming off on his own always gives him that main character kind of
Yeah.
placement.
Yep.
Because he's
I
the
totally
only one
agree.
who gets to experience things as an individual in a lot of takes. So it's just, I'm glad I don't know, I'm glad he was around and part of the family. And he just like expressed wanting more in a little bit healthier way than past
Yeah, like a
Raphaels.
more realistic way as you could get, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, it was refreshing. I mean, he's my favorite turtle still, but the idea that it was a little more mellow, like, oh, we have to worry about him, and let's keep it together, let's keep the band together, and he just killed a little extra aggression, but he kept it with the
Yeah. I don't know if I can ever say like definitively one turtle's my favorite.
I
I do think this one, I think Leonardo's consistently one of my more favorites, depending on the version, but like I can't pick like one that like is the one that I always like the best. Like it shifts from how
yeah.
and there's stuff I like in all of the different versions. Ironically, like the 80s cartoon turtles, like I probably have the strongest individual or the weakest individual feelings on. There's they have a lot of similar traits that bleed into each other just because of the nature of the time.
Yeah.
Adam, you had a take on Mikey you wanted to.
Oh no, yeah, no. Mikey was funny. He's the younger brother. No, this is just me. No problem. Just more of a question.
Yeah.
So they live in the sewers. How does Mikey have braces? That just bothered me.
I thought about that too.
I'm like,
Yeah.
character was fine. He was fun, but like, so when did Splinter take the orthodontist?
I wonder if it's really a retainer and they found it in like.
Oh,
See,
you know what?
that's what
a
I
good
was.
idea.
I was wondering.
I thought.
Yeah, we were talking about that because I was like, because we had a conversation, me and a friend of mine. I was like, yo, how does he have braces, and how the hell does Donnie have cell phone service? And they were like, maybe it's a retainer, and I was like, oh shit, you know what? Maybe it is a retainer.
Yeah, and I can imagine like, all right, I don't know how jailbreaking phones and stuff actually works, but I'm sure they could probably leech off of someone's Wi-Fi
Yeah,
somewhere.
When he got the Wi-Fi, he learned how to do orthodontistry, and
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, especially this Splinter was like not going up to the surface with these guys.
Right.
But yeah, let's talk about Michelangelo a little bit, Yeah, so he's not, I feel like he's the most similar to classic interpretations of Mikey.
Yeah, very excited, very
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
happy and excited character.
He's not someone I feel like you really need to reinvent the wheel on too much. I do like that, like none of the turtles were like they all had an element of like, yeah, they're all goofy, but like when they have like their real wants and needs and like that is still treated seriously even with Michelangelo. Like, yeah, it's goofy that like, oh, I want to sign up for improv, but like it's that that like they all have something at the school that they want, like reason they want to go to high school. And
Yeah, but I
that's
think
like the
that
perfect
fit him-
Michelangelo one.
Exactly. I think that fit him perfectly because like even from like the original like 80s cartoon bleeding over into the 90s movie, like Michelangelo just wanted to have fun. He was just
He's the party
fun,
dude.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
party. But like he just wanted to have fun, and even into the IDW series, the ongoing, he's always that he's like always that very vulnerable little brother type.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why when it was revealed he was the last Ronin, I didn't feel like special for having called it because I was like, he's the only one that is an interesting transformation for.
I think
Yeah.
anyone who was real, like I wouldn't say real fans because I'm not being rude or nothing, but I think anyone who's invested time in Ninja Turtles knew that was the only logical person to have as the last Ronin because it's the person that could the pain that they explained that he went through, especially with the Lost Years. Like it's more something that is like you can see him having those psychological things going on with him.
That's what I mean.
He was
Like
always the young one, the innocent one, the one that was always protected by them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he's the only one where that's an interesting character arc for him.
Exactly.
Because that's already basically just Raph.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like it's not too far out of the way for like Leo and Donatello.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, like let's talk a little bit more about this Michelangelo a little bit. I mean, I feel like I don't have a lot to say other than like it's he's just classic Mikey essentially.
Yeah, I think that's why there's not much to say because it was very on the nose. You know what I mean? It was like spot on. You know what I mean? It was like this is Mikey, and Mikey's character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that pretty much like he's just they stuck with a very true to the character kind of thing. And I think even if this goes on for another 40, 50 years, every iteration of Mikey is going to be so similar to the one before him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Oh, not at all.
No.
But I guess if we want to move on from Michelangelo, we can do that. I want to talk a little bit about April, and the one thing with her design is when they first showed her in like trailer stuff, I thought she was an adult. I didn't realize she was also a teenager. But that's not any problem in the movie. I will say this is probably at least in the movies, this is the only time I think April's been funny.
Yeah, her character is funny.
Yeah. I didn't expect to see April like throw up for like 5 minutes straight at one point. That's kind of great. I love that. But I kind of like, I don't know if I prefer this or not, but I do like when they make April also a teenager, and like, because there's advantages to her being an adult as well.
Yeah,
Especially if they're doing
like
like this, she's their only connection to the human world. So like, as an adult can get you more things and do more things for you.
than another teenager. Yeah,
But like, it makes
yeah,
them more. It makes their dynamic more fun, you know, like when they're like on a similar level.
yeah. I mean, when they did the 2012, and I was like, April's like the same age as them. Like, what the hell? And at no point did I think that her character was funny. Like, it was interesting how they did everything, but I didn't think it was funny. And with this iteration of her, I think, yeah, she was on the same level as all the characters were in the movie with being funny.
Yeah, and I like that she got to be much more involved with the plot, like integrally. Because like a
Yeah.
lot of the times, like I feel like you can kind of just cut April out and it doesn't really change.
Yeah, she's just there. I like how they kind of give her. She had ambitions and wants and needs herself in the movie and was trying to make that happen. And I think they did it that way so they would kind of have a bond. Besides the whole Leo thing, they would have more of a bond because they had the same interest of wanting to be accepted. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I
kind
mean
of
that's the theme of this movie because that's what the other mutants want too, you know.
Yeah. I think that all in general just made her character probably the most interesting April out of every movie prior.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Rise April is also funny, but it's a different. They're like you got to view a movie and a TV show different because the TV show
differently. Yeah,
it's a lot more room to breathe and focus on different kinds of stories.
Yeah. And it is a different April than Rise.
Yeah, it's still a different April than
Even
Rise.
though they're both funny. This one's like a little more serious.
Yeah, I appreciate that this one's more serious because Rise is already an extremely like heightened, goofy like version.
Yes,
and like way more heightened and goofy. But I don't know. It's also the first time in forever. Like it feels like her being a journalist is like a thing.
Yeah,
Not that she always needs to be, but
yeah, the Channel 6 reference when she ran in there.
Yeah, there was a lot of little references like that were fun.
There was a reference to everything, and I loved it. I'm totally there for that. I loved it.
Do you have any thoughts on April, Adam?
Oh no, I like you guys are saying. No, it was nice. It was a little funny, a little different take on it, and you know the voice actor, she does a nice job. She's
from the Bear.
From the Bear, and it's like
the Bear, yeah,
doing a good job. So it was nice, and she, like you guys were saying too, she had her own little redemption story too. You know, she got to take care of some upchuck stuff. You know.
Yeah, I will say, just on a little side note, I highly recommend The Bear if you haven't watched it. That might be my favorite.
So good.
My favorite television show that's like currently airing. Just prepare to have your heart broken.
Yeah, I haven't finished it all yet.
Oh yeah. Like, I'm obviously not trying to do anything, but like
no, it's all good.
Yeah, it's like an extremely character driven show, so it's like Anyway, that's a really good show. But we're talking about a different kind of thing named after an animal today. So,
but now that we're talking about the high school stuff, like if April's in high school, are Vern and Irma going to be there too?
When she ran,
I was waiting for that. I was waiting to see something with Irma.
When she ran into Channel 6, I was kind of expecting them to like be there in the background. I was like, oh, that's cute, but I didn't see that. But things were also happening real fast because that was like the climax of the movie.
Yeah. That last like 20 minutes, like everything was getting like crazy.
Can we talk action in this movie real quick? The montage with like beating up all of the goons to like find where it's like going up the trail to find Superfly was so cool.
I loved it. I so loved how they did it. And I love how they did part of it as it was all one take.
Yeah.
And they were bleeding into each other. Like it would just automatically merge to the next character. You know what I mean? It would go from Leo to Raph, but it was all one fight scene. Like when they were rushing down the hall and then when all of them were joined up together. I love how it was all one scene that led up to that part. I love how they did that. And I love the whole art aspect of it, but the actual continuing one shot of them running in the room and then all hell breaking loose and then merging it all together was amazing.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. What I really liked about that montage scene was like, so in the first Ninja Turtles movie, we see them have their first battle against like some goons, and then after that they're just fighting ninjas and are like really comfortable with that. In this one, like that, we see their first fight, and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
But
the chop chop fight, yeah.
this montage gives the feeling of like, oh, like look at them like gain experience and like,
Yeah, they're leveling up.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Uh, which I thought was like really fun. So then when they are fighting like a bunch of giant, powerful mutants, it's not just like, oh, fishy how they can, all of a sudden be on par.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Oh man. Yeah, like I said, I wish that's why I think I wish there was one like normal fight between them and the mutants. Like the fight we do get is like it's mostly like a car chase scene.
Yeah,
They do a lot of fun stuff in it too, and it is cool. Don't misunderstand me, but it's like I kind of wish that we could see because all the mutants they picked are all like really different
yeah,
and like could be done in a lot of really interesting ways. Like some of them fly and some of them don't. Like some are really big, and then there's like Mondo Gecko, you can like run up walls and stuff. Like there's
Yeah.
Can we
little
talk?
things you could do, you know?
Can we talk about how Splinter straight up murdered a dude? Did you guys
Yeah.
catch that?
Well,
He
well,
stuck that stick right through that dude's head when he fell and hit the floor, man.
yeah.
Oh,
like-
whoa.
Well,
Yes!
I don't think I saw that.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Well, this
no
Splinter
way he's
hates
surviving
humans,
that.
so
He did
that
a
makes sense.
backflip onto the body laying on the floor and shoved the nightstick into his face and let go, and the nightstick was just standing up. That is death, my friend.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is cerebral.
That's pretty
hemorrhage.
nuts.
All right. Well, while we're talking Splinter, like, how did you guys feel about Splinter A not being Hamato Yoshi and B not even being Hamato Yoshi's rat? He's just a regular rat who watched like Jackie Chan movies, and that's how he learned to fight.
Oh my, yeah. Okay. So
I mean,
first of all,
It makes
did
as
you
much
guys
sense as
see how they
anything.
give him the old school? You see how they give him the old school Kevin Eastman haircut and thin mustache?
Yeah, I love his like 70s dad
Oh,
look. Yeah.
Yeah, if you pay attention
dang,
to that,
I didn't catch that was his, but that's definitely Kevin
yeah,
Eastman's look
that
from
was
back.
Kevin Eastman's old school, like curly hair, slightly mullet, and thin mustache.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, the fact that he wasn't Hamato Yoshi, like the fact that he wasn't him, stays true to the comic, the original Mirage comic books.
But like he was Hamato Yoshi's rat. Like he's got nothing
He was,
to do with him. Yeah.
and that's how he learned ninjutsu and all that stuff. And I think that is a key element that I think that people I've come across that complained about was like, yo, so he just learned ninjutsu from watching Jackie Chan movies. Well, Jackie Chan, first of all, is kung fu.
Oh yeah,
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that the fact that I mean, I know when I was a kid, I grew up doing wrestling and karate, and as I got older, doing a couple different variations of martial arts. But I think, like most people who didn't really know nothing about martial arts, your introduction is movies, is kung fu flicks, and then you read a book and here and there. So the aspect of that doesn't bother me too much, because it's like I think a lot of people, at least, you know, especially here in America, that's how you find out about stuff like that. You know what I mean? Is through movies and books.
Growing up, everyone did karate, and they only did it because they watched Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
You know, like
I mean,
So my question is, these people who are upset about Splinter learning from movies, so to them, it's outrageous that a mutant rat
yeah,
can watch a movie, or watch many movies, and learn martial arts that way. But it's totally acceptable that a normal rat can watch a man do it.
Yes, exactly. That's why I tell people you're just splitting hairs, dude. You're just splitting hairs. A rat doesn't have the consciousness to remember everything that someone else is doing around them, and then all of a sudden, no, jujitsu.
Yeah. That's why, yeah. Oh, God.
To be fair, I don't know if anyone's mad about that. I know, or like mad about that. I'm sure there's people sounding off online right now about it.
Yeah,
But
I've seen a couple threads on it, and that's the same problem that people had with the Michael Bay version. Because in the Michael Bay version, he found a book on ninjutsu, and then
I'm
he
saying
studied it.
at least a movie you can mimic something's movements. I think the bigger problem is the Michael Bay movie was just kind of dumb, and like that was just one. It was just one other dumb thing like amongst all of this stuff. It's like I didn't like that in the Michael Bay one either, but like Michael Bay one was doing a lot of shit I didn't like, so I was like, I don't really care.
My problem with that is they tried cramming in so much shit at once that it was just like I was almost like overstimulated with that damn movie.
Yeah, it was. I didn't care for that movie. That's not a bold. That's not a hot take.
I mean, I saw it. I own it, of course, but
yeah, I saw it. That's all. I've only saw it the one time. I've never had the desire to rewatch it. I mean,
my son, that was his first. That was the first movie that came out like when he was a kid of the Ninja Turtles, and he just loved that movie when he was a kid.
Was there a show on at the time?
Yeah, at the time when the 2012 series came out, it kind of like greenlighted Paramount to work with Nickelodeon on making the Michael Bay movie. And
yeah,
even while the Michael
about the same time I remember,
even while the Michael Bay movie was like being made, there were still new episodes popping out of the Ninja Turtles.
So was he like watching the I mean, we're getting off topic a little bit, but was he watching the show and then saw that there was a movie and wanted to check that out, or was it the other way around? Or
he was just, my son
just
was
indoctrinating him from birth.
Well, no, you know what happened real quick, because I know we're supposed to be talking about the other movie, but so I don't know if you all have kids, but I'd wake up in the morning and okay, I'd have to watch like, Dora or Yo Gabba Gabba. And as a parent, you're sitting there going out of your mind. And then all of a sudden they showed a commercial for the 2012 series. Immediately I sat up and I was like, what? And my son was like, what is this? And I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, before this show starts, you gotta learn. Where's my book? Where's my stuff? You need to get some culture, young man. And then him and my daughter just got into it from there.
Yeah. And that is one of the fun things about a series like this, constant getting reinvention, is like everyone's got their Ninja Turtles when they were a kid. Adam, I know you got kids, like,
Yeah, they like. I mean, I was just so thrilled to take them and see the movie with them. I mean, I went to the 1990 movie with my parents, and then just I didn't miss a turtle movie yet, and just to take them. I mean, they had a good time with it. They also like to bust my chops and say, "Oh, well, whatever you saw, I didn't like it," but I know that they did enjoy it. So, but it was a lot of fun.
Because that is important, like, to have that perspective too. I don't have children, but like, this movie is made. It's a family movie, but like they want to market toys and stuff to kids. Granted, I know we buy lots of that stuff as well.
Yeah.
But like, the primary market's still children. So the fact that like we can enjoy it on a level and the kids can as well.
Yeah.
Like,
that was one thing with people too. I liked too was he was goofy, but you know what? Deep down, he was the dad, and he was the heart of that family.
I love Splinter in this. I love that him and Superfly are kind of like got the same philosophy. Like Splinter sees that and realizes that that's the wrong thing, and that's what makes a good guy versus a bad guy.
It came
able to grow and change.
I like the fact that Splinter in it, he was more their dad than an actual like sensei. They give more of a that's our father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which makes sense because like he doesn't come from a ninjutsu background.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, so to be fair, Rise, they also teaches him through movies and stuff, but like actually was that character in those movies.
Yeah.
So yeah. I overall like as much as like there's things I can nitpick about the movie that I didn't especially care for. There was a lot, like for example, there was like a lot of pop culture references, like that stuff usually annoys me. To be fair, a lot of them did come back and were like important. Like Attack on Titan wasn't just because it's an anime.
No, they actually used something.
Yeah, they used
The
something.
pop culture references, depending on how they do them, sometimes I like and sometimes I hate, because something like that can date a movie very much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't. They're extremely cheap pops.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that they're Ninja Turtles alone is kind of a pop culture reference, but like it's one of those things where like when there's a lot of that, it really takes me out of a movie or a project. It's one of the reasons I'm not a huge like Deadpool kind of guy. So it's like I was, at least early on, I was a little like, oh no, what am I getting into? But like the fact that they were more that like a lot of them served more of a more than a purpose. And to be fair, like you can argue they serve a purpose where they show like character, like what like those characters like. It shows a little bit more of their personality.
Well, that's my thing.
Yeah.
It's just like kids are gonna make pop culture references.
Yeah. I know, and as
really
went, well, but
yeah.
I think the way they used it in this movie was very well done, especially now, because like, you know, history repeats themselves. Right now, like I think in culture period, there's a very late 80s, early 90s style coming back out again.
Oh, I think it's definitely shifted fully to the 90s now. We're too old.
Well, yeah, that's like my daughter and my son are into grunge now. And my son's 13, my daughter's 16, and I'm literally seeing myself as a kid, and I'm like, oh my god, at least just don't be like me. Like, you know what I mean? Just
dude, I didn't even like grunge in the 90s, so like
dude, I loved grunge in the 90s, but I think like the whole style of the way like the early 90s hip hop and stuff like that they used heavily in this movie, it's coming back around. I haven't used the word mollywop since I was a teenager myself, and the fact that he said that, I was like, oh my god. Now I'm hearing my son say mollywop, and I'm like, oh my god, like they did it. They took something and now they're sticking it in these kids' heads now. It's working. What they wanted to do is working.
Yeah,
I think the way they did it in a good way.
Yeah, I did really like this movie. Like I know I had a couple of things I complain about, but I
mean, you can like a movie and
still have things.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, like the way it ended and wrapped up, like it's weird. I was talking to Kendall about this after leaving the theater. It's like for some reason in this movie, when like so at the end everyone has to team up to fight Superfly. It's like the turtles and the other mutants team up, but then like the humans see that they're like helping and the humans all work. And I was like, oh, this is really working for me. Like they're being accepted. But then like something like that, like I hated that in like Amazing Spider-Man when they call up like Crane Dad and they like do like a hero shot of all the cranes that he can swing off. I'm like, it's so stupid. But, like it works in this movie. I don't know. Just the ending of it felt so satisfying. And the fact that like in high school at the end, I'm like, that's so different. I haven't seen that. And like I'm excited for like this kind of world now.
I think why crazy stuff like that works is if you even go back to the basis of Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, it's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The name is so crazy and absurd when you kind of think of it, especially for the time, that like anything within there that's crazy or outlandish, it works. It just works with how everything is supposed to be. Like it just works. Like no matter, because like the rise, like all the crazy stuff for that, it just for a lot of it worked. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think just overall together, crazy stuff like that wouldn't work for maybe one franchise. It usually most 95% of the time works with stuff Ninja Turtle related.
Yeah,
and I guess part like because like the theme of the movie was gaining acceptance, like that shows like a character arc for not just the main characters, but like kind of the world that they're in. Because like right before then, like everyone was scared of the mutants because mutants were attacking the city, and that's what it looked like they were doing more of.
Yeah.
You know, but so much. The ending of the movie like really like went above and like not that I was disliking the movie, but like the end of the movie like really brought it up like a notch or two for me.
Yeah.
Like basically as soon as they get to Superfly's lair onward, like especially with Splinter there, and then him like I loved his little speech about like how his way is wrong and Superfly's wrong, and like I love the Bebop and Rocksteady. I was like, oh, that was really rousing. I feel very roused. That was fun. Like that's funny. Like I'm really excited for them potentially being like at least friendly with the Ninja Turtles. Like there's so much cool stuff at the end. I'm like, I want more. And that's kind of what you want, especially if this is supposed to be like a franchise starter again.
Well, I always like the team ups, two separate teams together for the greater good that would happen every now and then.
Yeah.
Through the comic book series, when they had to work with Bebop and Rocksteady and stuff. I always liked those team ups that were, temporary alliances.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't they part of the Mutant Animals eventually in the Archie series?
In the Mutanimals, I don't know if they were like officially. I got to go back there. It's been so long, but I don't know if they were officially just staple. But at one time, yeah, they all did work together.
Yeah.
I think the end of their story, they like got deposited on some like Garden of Eden planet in Dimension X, and they just like stopped being henchmen and just like lived amongst the animals.
I never really read the Archie series. Like whenever I dipped into them, even as a kid, I was like, because it was so different, and I was like, I'm not really digging what's happening. I don't know what's going on.
It's cool. You should try it now.
I mean, I know they punch Hitler in the face at some point, and then Leonardo convinces him to commit suicide by the end because that's how Buck Wild the Archie books would used to get.
Yeah, the Archie comics were like crazy. Like I have like the original like first prints of a couple of my favorite like the first Ray Fillet and Mondo Gecko and stuff like that. Mondo Gecko is one of my favorite non-main characters.
You know what? It's kind of weird that like Mondo Gecko is still like a thing, like completely unchanged. Like Mondo is such an 80s surfer, like
Mondo Gecko is just Mondo Gecko.
Yeah, like people do people today know what the word Mondo like is? You guys are kids, so. maybe they know, but like
wasn't there that whole company Mondo?
Yeah, was there? I don't remember.
Like totally Mondo, like that's Mondo.
I do think it's funny that they mentioned the Genghis Frog's name, or like is
Genghis was in there, but you barely see him.
But originally he's like a villain created by Shredder, which is why all the punk frogs are like named after
the punk frogs now,
history, like monsters from history. But
just like, it's Genghis.
Like, why they name him Genghis Frog? Like, all the other names I can kind of get, like them naming themselves.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't know.
That was a funny joke.
It was a funny joke, but then it's like, yeah, why is he named that here?
We got to work on that, man.
Yeah. I did really like this movie.
Overall, I think they did a great job with doing a new reiteration of the Turtles and kind of just moving a new franchise, like part of it forward. I think they did great.
Yeah.
How would you rank out of all the movies, how would you rank like your top three? Like what would they be?
I can go real quick. My top three would be the original 1991, then this one, then Secret of the Ooze.
I'd have to agree. I'd probably say exactly the same thing.
Yeah. And I don't know if Secret of the Ooze is just it's I mean it's gonna have a nostalgia edge, but like it's got a so bad it's good element that I really like. I mean what about you, Adam? What would your top?
I'm going 1, 2, and then Mayhem.
Okay, that's fair.
The Ooze and Vanilla Ice, it's just what can I say?
Yo, I'll be honest with you. Part of me. Well, didn't they play Ninja Rap in this for a minute?
You hit the radio. Ninja Rap came on.
Because if they didn't put that in this, I would have been surprised that it wasn't. Just this feels like it would have been. What about you, Ken? What are your top three? Shake out.
Kind of hard. I would like to see this one again, but yeah, as of right now, exactly the same as your,
Yeah.
The original, the 1991, this one. Are we talking theatrical?
I'm talking theatrical. If my Rise becomes number 2 and this becomes number 3, I think. In my ranking,
the Rise movie is really good.
But like the Rise one's also like, it helps that it was it had 2 seasons of a show to establish these characters at the time. Yeah. And like the show, they were already seeding like the Krang Utroms or whatever they want to call them showing up.
Yeah.
So this felt
Um,
that felt more like a conclusion where this feels more like a traditional movie, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, my current ranking is yeah, 1990 Mayhem, Secret of the Ooze. Uh, but I, this movie was really good, and no matter how many times I watch it, there's no way I'll watch it as much as that 90s one.
Yeah.
But I could see myself going forward watching this one more
You
than
know,
More
the
now. Yeah.
I don't disagree. I can definitely see that because this one feels like a fun one. It's just funny. You can just put it on. Versus,
Yeah.
I mean, the '90s one's fun too, but like it. See, I do like that it tells a more serious story. I don't know. It's just like different vibes for different moments. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to watch it again, and we'll see what happens.
I mean, then again, if I'm going to watch just like a crazy fun Ninja Turtles movie, I'll probably put Rise on before this.
That was good.
Yeah,
I liked how they did Rise. I think
I
it
don't
was really
know.
good.
I mean, maybe I'll do a follow up to that Batman ranking video I did, and we'll talk Ninja Turtles movies because now there's enough of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You could break it down.
Because there's the three original ones in the '90s. There was TMNT, the two like Platinum Dunes ones. This, if we're just counting theatrical, and then if we're counting like other ones that you can put in like Rise. I don't know if there was any TV specials. You could kind of count like
First forever.
yeah, Turtles
Oh,
Forever. Like
that's a good one.
yeah, yeah. That'd be a different conversation. Maybe I'll have you guys back for that one at another point. Maybe
That'd be awesome.
when we can watch Mutant Mayhem at home because I would want to rewatch it. I don't know if I'll be able
Ditto.
to get to the theater and see it again. Not that I'd be opposed to doing that.
I was thinking about going back to watch it in 3D.
Oh, I would probably
I
throw up watching this in 3D. Yeah,
You'll be like April.
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Because me and my son were talking about going back and watching it in 3D.
Nice.
It's a little too kinetic, I think, for me in 3D, but that's a personal thing. I get motion sickness in 3D, so
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
VR game like heavily, so like
yeah,
I'm
I
not
can't
used
do
to
that stuff. I think it's because I have to filter like already through like a lens of glasses. Like I have to do another one on top of that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's a really satisfying movie, and I really enjoyed it. And
For
I
sure.
think we
And
left it.
I think
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I think it's going to be in theaters for a while.
Oh, yeah. I
yeah. It's
think
gonna be one of those runs where they don't rush to get it out of. Like they'll put it out on DVD and Blu-ray, and it will still be in the movie theater. You know what I mean?
this is
They've
one
done
of the,
that with movies that run really well.
and this was one of the things we talked about, like while we're waiting for the movie to start. It's like, I wonder what trailers we're gonna get. I was like, what's even coming out the rest of this year? Like,
I haven't been paying attention because I was just so psyched for this movie.
yeah, in my opinion, a lot of the stuff is like for the rest of the year is pretty unexciting.
Yeah.
Kind of
I
like,
mean, I'm a big Blue Beetle
yeah.
fan. I'm a
Yeah.
big Blue Beetle fan. Jaime Reyes. Because
I mean, I like his comics, but like, I have no faith in a DC movie.
Listen, I tell people, I've been telling people for years. TV, DC's got it on lock. Silver screen, Marvel has it on lock. But
I would argue Marvel no longer has it in lock, but
I like the Blue Beetle with the whole. I don't know if like they're gonna bring it into this one right away with the whole reach and everything like that, and the multiple scarabs and stuff. I love that series. So
Jaime Reyes is comics one of my favorites. Like that was like a surprise hit for me. I didn't pick it up until like there used to be a comic book store in the area that would like every free comic book day they would take all of their back issues out for $20. You could fill up a short box, and like I found a whole run of that, and I put that in my short box, and I loved it.
That's awesome.
Or, so but yeah, but that's a different conversation. I do really like that Blue Beetle, but yeah. So I mean, I don't know if we have final thoughts. I think we've been pretty exhaustive, but like I do think we left enough meat on the bone that like if for some reason you listen to this whole thing and haven't seen the movie, there's still plenty to like discover and like in it as well.
Oh yeah, there's so much stuff in that movie,
and visually, like it's worth watching for just the animation alone.
Yeah. The one thing I will say though, did any of you guys catch? And I always thought this when I was a kid. Did you catch that when Baxter Stockman was mixing the final pieces of the ooze, that the original color of it was purple? It was that bright purple.
Oh,
Yeah, I did
from the
notice that.
original
And then when he
cartoon.
drops it in,
Yeah.
when he drops it in and it mixes, it becomes green. Because in the original cartoon, it was
was purple.
purple,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, it like progressed into it was a green ooze.
I was about to say it was purple in the movies, but I'm realizing I think I'm thinking Ivan Ooze.
Yeah, you're definitely thinking Ivan Ooze.
Love Ivan. Yeah, I mean, I've said all my thoughts on this movie. With the exception of that mid-credits scene.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a good sequel hook.
Yes.
I as much as I was saying I'm excited that they didn't use those kinds of things in this movie, I won't say that I'm not like I kind of want to, mostly because I want to see more of these characters. I'm like, I want to see them fight that person.
Can I ask you one thing? Do you think, giving the setting of that character at the end, just that whole, do you think even though this was a lighthearted movie, maybe the next one, if they do a movie with this, it's going to be slightly a little more darker, emotional wise?
The stuff with that character will be serious. I think the other characters will still be kind of goofy. Okay. But because like in this movie, they got serious when it needed to be. So it's not like they're just joke machines the whole time.
Yeah.
Like
I think
it's a good balance.
I don't think it's going to be like grin gritty, but I see it being as dark and complex as this one or a Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious what they're gonna. I'm just gonna go and say it. The Maya Rudolph plays
Oh yeah,
Cynthia Utrom. Yeah.
So what's funny is I went with my kids and my girlfriend and her sister has never really seen anything Ninja Turtles, and so she was like, yeah, she was like, what is this? What is it? And at the end, when they had that credit scene, she was like, who's that? I was like, are you serious? I get you don't know certain characters, but you don't know who that is? Are you kidding me?
I understand not knowing who Wingnut is.
Yeah. But so with the Utrom thing, and I was like, even my son, and my son's a big fan. I said, yo, do you get who she is, right? And he's like, no. I'm like, Utrom. Like from Dimension X, the Utroms. And he was like, oh my God. And I was like, yes, dude. And it was like, it took him a second to catch on.
Yeah. To be fair, I think if the 2K show or the 2K12 show, they were just the Krang.
Yeah, they were just.
Well, you didn't watch it all. The Utroms do exist.
Do they exist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Krang were like, Utroms have like individual personalities in that universe, and the Krang are like this hive.
They're like a hive. Yeah, they're like a hive mind kind of.
Okay, so they did use that in that show. All right.
Yeah.
Well, then if you watched it, then whatever, it's not a big deal. But
yeah, I'm excited for the follow-up cartoon and the next movie for sure.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Which is funny because like this producing team's like, in my opinion, made very below standard movies, in my opinion, up until now. But like I'm stoked for this. I mean, I was excited for it from the get-go. I loved the new design and the new look at the movie, and I like when I started seeing trailers. Other than like Donatello's voice, I was a little unsure of in the trailers, but like in the movie, he's fine. It
fits the character.
Yeah, and I appreciate that they're voiced by like they're still technically teenagers. They're like 19 voice actors.
Have you collected like any of the stuff for the new movie or anything?
I'm not a big toy guy, and like I also don't like to buy merch for stuff I haven't like experienced yet.
Yeah,
because like
all the figures.
If I spent like $500 on toys for this and then I hated the movie, I'd be like, why do I have this?
No. Like I have like all the figures for it, and I even got like the exclusive, like the turtle van. With everything came with April and whatnot.
To be honest, I've seen people like in the weeks leading up to this, like on the TMNT like subreddit, people were
Yeah.
buying these figures and then like painting them and doing like people made some really cool Turtles figures.
Listen, I was just about to say that
Yeah.
because that whole sketch style really isn't how the figures, this line, it isn't really how
Yeah.
they're done. But there
Yeah,
are
people added a lot of those,
taking
like,
them and
details.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are taking them and doing that.
Like Gundam,
What
like
is-
line markers and stuff.
Yeah, like very cell shaded stuff to them.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing.
Yeah. I've seen some.
Cool. I'll have to look this up.
Yeah, they're making it look a lot like the movie itself.
Adam, you
Love
get
that.
have you gotten anything from this any merch or anything from this yet?
No, just a little paperclip thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you
then,
did show a Superfly, yeah.
I got this little bottle of water for $2.
Oh nice.
Yeah. What's funny
I
is
mean,
the Superfly character in the movie he doesn't have a shirt on or anything. He just
Right.
But on the character on the actual action figure, he has like a ripped sweater vest kind of thing going on.
Really?
Kind of like a throwback to like Baxter Stockman.
Did
that's
they
pretty
do
cool.
that so they didn't have to put his cool torso arms on?
Maybe, yeah, it's possibly it could be that
Because like that'd be part of the fun of getting a figure like him. He's got extra arms, you know.
That 4-pack looks
yeah.
cool though, with them in the disguise, like the Spock one.
Oh
yeah.
The like surfer dude, and then I forgot the other two are, but I like
Because
the
they're all
cowboy.
references to the old toys.
yeah, the old
Yeah. I think
Playmate.
is Raph a spaceman?
Yeah, Raph's an astronaut.
That's an astronaut. Leo's a cowboy, I think, right?
Right.
I think is it Mikey who's the cowboy, and I think it's Leo is the or Donnie's the space. Is the
Well,
dude from Star
Donnie's
Trek.
Spock. Yeah, Donnie's the Star
Yeah,
Trek.
Donnie Spock. But that was the first. That was like one of the first variants of Ninja Turtles that they released from the original line, and I think that's why they did it for this new one.
I mean, I'm a big Star Trek guy. I've got they're not in the room I'm in now, so I can't show them to you. But I've got on card the Star Trek Turtles.
Nice.
But yeah, all right. We've been talking for over an hour. And with the four of us, we could talk Ninja Turtles for like 40 more years.
Yeah.
So,
Probably gonna be doing that.
I frequently do that with all three of you individually.
At the
like,
store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kendall and I have been talking Ninja Turtles for like at least 20 years. So
Yeah, we just don't stop, do we?
yeah. That was one of the first things I think we originally bonded over. We both wore Ninja Turtle shirts to gym in high school.
Oh shit.
Yeah. But that was back when 80s nostalgia was becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Because I remember being really stoked on getting like Back to the Future merch and stuff. But yeah, so I guess we'll sign off. I thank you guys for joining me so much.
Thanks for having us, man.
Obviously, when I knew we
you.
wanted to do a Turtles thing, I knew I had to reach out to at least the three of you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
I'm glad we were able to get it all. We were all able to get together, and our schedules lined up pretty easily. Probably the easiest of any of these podcasts where I've had four people on ever been. And this will hopefully be released either tomorrow or the next day, definitely by Friday.
Awesome.
This week, and then I'll share it, and y'all be internet famous just like me. Somehow.
Oh, thank you.
I'm gonna share the link. If it's cool, I'm gonna share the link on my my YouTube and my Facebook. If that's
Hey,
cool.
yeah. I mean, we'll be sharing it as this on the store's social media as well.
Awesome.
Once I have the link and stuff, I'll send it to you, and then
Perfect.
do as you will.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, thanks again for joining me. Thank you for listening at home, and till next time, be safe.